Tell us a little bit about what the last few days have been like being in the facility, just the convenience of it all. And I hear a lot about the food.
Yeah. I alluded to it the other day. The facility's unbelievable. The fact that, we're able to train here, to have our meetings here, to eat here collectively, to see the back office, to see racing every day. From a culture standpoint, I think it's really important what we're doing here at Louisville City. And then ultimately, when you look at the facilities and the food that these guys are eating, I'm a little bit worried. We're going to have to do a little bit more fitness because there's way too good of food in there. You know what I mean? No, but it's been good. Players are happy. And ultimately, it's gonna continue to help us as a club grow.
Have you noticed, I know it's really, really early in the process, but have you noticed the team kind of already becoming a little bit closer, being able to spend more time with each other that's just not on the practice field?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Listen, now there's a cafeteria where the players get to meet in after training, talk about training, right? Talk about off the field things that are happening. So certainly it's put us in a position to be able to see each other a little bit more for longer periods of time, and that's always good when you're continuing to grow as a team, right? And so it's been really helpful in that regard.
How does that translate, in your experience, how does that usually translate to wins on field?
Well, I think ultimately when these guys are on the field together, they're playing for one another, right? And you're trying to play for a collective goal. And the more time that you spend together, you grow together. And we talk about it in the locker room a lot. You're doing everything that you can to help your brother on the field. And that's ultimately how it feels.
Looking ahead a little bit to Friday, what have you done maybe to address defensively what's happened in the last game with 3 goals, 1/2, pretty uncharacteristic?
Well, we spent a whole training session on it yesterday. No, but listen, there was a lot of positives to take away. I think the biggest thing is we have to stop turning the ball over in bad areas and then staying switched on. I feel like a lot of the goals that we're conceding are coming from our mistakes. I know that's easy to say, but it's really how I feel when I go back and look at the goals conceded. At the same time, we've had real growth from an attacking standpoint. I think in the first 7 games, we conceded 5 goals. In the last 2, we've conceded 5 goals. So we've grown, but we weren't scoring much. So we've grown in that area, and now we need to make sure we're putting it all together. And as we do that, I think you'll start to see us continue to be a dangerous team on both ends of the field.
We saw a lot of Sporting in KC2 last year. They were a young team. They were an aggressive team. Has anything changed in that regard?
Same thing. It's a group that I have a lot of respect for how they do things over there. Whether they're playing with kids or a little bit of the older guys from the first team that are in, it is a group that has a clear understanding of how they want to play. And ultimately, in every single game that I've watched so far, they're on the front foot, and they're a difficult team to break down. So we're expecting a challenge, obviously having to travel there. But we feel good about how we've been playing, and we've obviously addressed the issues that we need to make sure that we come out of it with 3 points.
Jonathan Gomez, being so young that he is, what have you noticed most about his progression on the season?
So let's even go back further, because his progression from when he first got here to where he is now, and I'll be clear on this is where we believed he would be. It's the whole reason we've gone through this process with him from day one. And so his growth has been fantastic. There are still things he needs to improve on. He will be the first to tell you that. But when you look at it and you have a player who wants to improve every day and understands those issues and where he can get better at, that's when that player continues to excel, right? He's not content. I've said that to you guys before. He's not content with his performances. He's obviously been playing well, but there's been things that he needs to improve on, and we've addressed it. We will continue to address it so that we can get him to where we believe he can play, which is at the highest level.
Being 17 years old, being away from home and everything like that, how do you think he's been adjusting to that standpoint?
It's not a problem for him. He's been fantastic both on and off the field. He's a kid that, even at his age, extremely experienced. He seems a lot more grown up than I think a normal 17-year-old. There's no doubt about that. How he handles himself off the field from a professionalism standpoint is ultimately why he's in these positions that he's in now. He's not a kid at heart. He really is a kid that comes to work every day and does the right things off the field. And ultimately, these opportunities, whether you talk about the national teams, whether you talk about how he's continued to grow here, they come because of how he handles himself both on and off the field.